Good morning, YouTube. Well, this is not a bike reveal. It's just new bike. This is traded in my Monster. I had a 2015 Monster 821. Beautiful bike. I had it for 2 seasons and really enjoyed it. For the back road riding that I do here in Putnam County, New York, the Monster was a great bike, but I started to, after 3 seasons now of riding, I started to do longer rides, some highway riding, and I never really liked the Monster on the highway. Just never really felt comfortable with the bike. For blasting around the back roads, it was great. But the SuperSport here is new for 2017. It's kind of, you see, it's got like the Monster trellis. The engine is part of the makeup. Their single-sided swing arm now, which I'll go to the other side, is just beautiful. I wish my Monster had it, but it didn't. But it has the trellis that you could still see. So it's like a 3/4 fairing, which I love. So you still get to see some, and I'll get those stickers off. Today's my first real ride with the bike. I drove it home yesterday, but it was freaking raining out. It figures, but I had to get the bike. So this is a kind of a mix of Panigale. You take a look at the front nose on it. It is right off the Panigale. The little V is a daytime running light. You can shut that off and have one of the lights on or off, just like a standard bike. But if you activate the daytime running lights, just the V lights up, which is really cool. The windshield here is actually adjustable. It just pulls up. It comes up about 2.5 inches. Oh, really cool. They also make a larger windscreen for it, but if you're going to go on the highway, you could and you can do it while you're riding. You just yank the top of it and she'll just lift right up. It is a side exhaust. And there's the single side swing arm. It's just it's a beauty. One thing they did for me, I didn't even ask for it. It's like any other bike, of course. It had a large tail hanging off the back, the fender, with the 2 stock blinkers, and the plate was probably at least back here. I mean, it's behind the tire. But when I picked up the bike, they put this little integrated blinker thing on under here, and my license plate is kind of just jammed all the way up under. I'm not a full fan of that. Some of the other aftermarket things would have had the plate over here, but it does have a light on it, and from the further back you go, you actually can read it. So we'll see. If I have an issue with it, I'll change it out to a standard, but the little cool blinker mechanism that hangs under the tail is just really cool, and it cleans it up. Other than that, it's a great bike. Like all Ducatis, the mirrors shake like crazy. Anybody that owns a Panigale or the SuperSport here, one of the big things I find is that the mirrors just vibrate like nuts. And as well on this bike, they vibrate like crazy. A lot of people blank these off. Put the little blinker housings here, and you could put an aftermarket mirror, which I have already. I had the arrows on my other bike, and they were expensive, so I just get the new plugs in here, and I could put the arrows on this bike. So I might do that, because you'll see the blinker mechanism is in the mirrors. So you would take this whole bracket off and put a little blinker mechanism here, which I might, because I have the aftermarket mirrors already, and they're really good. So it's a real sporty looking bike, yet it sits a little bit in the upright position, kind of like the Ninja 650 for Ducati, and that's what I had first. I had a 2015 Ninja 650, and really liked the bike. But it just, it didn't have character. That parallel twin, I'm just not a fan. And, the bike is all about the engine. This is actually the 939. It's on the Hypermotard. It's obviously here in the SuperSport. It's in the Multistrada 950. So this is kind of like Ducati's new go-to engine. We'll see. Believe it or not, it only has 1 horsepower more than my Monster, even though it's a larger CC. But it's geared totally different. It really is. I need some gas. I think my light was on when I took off earlier. As one of the only bikes I've ever had that's has a gear indicator and a gas gauge. So, pretty excited about that. Not that I've ever needed it, because I've never had a bike that had it. But really good looking bike. So far so good. Integrated kill switch and start, so you just bring this back. Starts up real quick. My Monster used to have to roll a little bit on it. So it has the sport modes. This is Euro 4, so it's a little quieter than my Monster. My Monster 821 was not a Euro 4. But, you know, the Panigale tank, the front nose of the Panigale, I mean, look at the cockpit here. That whole red in there like that is just, I don't even know if the Panigale 959 has that. It's just, it's beautiful. It doesn't have true clip-ons, but they look like it. And they are angled off on the side a little bit, so my Monster would have been up here and a little closer. So I'm definitely leaned forward more, and I'm definitely down some. You can see where the bars are angled over. So it's more sport than the sport touring. I still don't know if I'd like the tour on this thing. They do make bags for this bike, and believe it or not, there was part of the package which helped. They make Ducati bags, like luggage, and that came free of charge. And, you know, anything Ducati is expensive, and the bags in general are expensive. So they threw that in. They order them, they come in a couple of weeks, and I'll have the bag. Even if I just throw them in the garage, and if I ever want to use them, they had a promo, the bags came with the bike. So if you ever do go, I did join a motorcycle club. I joined the East Coast Ducati Riders. And they're actually out on a ride today, but I'm traveling tomorrow, and I'm squeaking a ride. And I got a brand new bike here, and there's no way I wasn't gonna ride. So let's go for a little cruise. When I came home from the bike shop yesterday, I did have a couple of missed gears. I'm just not used to the clutch yet. I'm not used to the brake. It's gonna, you know, take a couple of rides for everything to wear in. She got no mileage on the bike. I bought the bike, it had like 3 miles or something on it. Like I said, even though it's the same horsepower as my Monster, it is geared completely different, and I'm definitely, you know, leaned over a lot more. You know, maybe not as much as a full Panigale, but you're definitely in a sports position. But it feels like it has so much more power. Like I said, just the way the gearing is totally different than my Monster was. Like, I came home on Route 9 yesterday, which is kind of like a highway. I mean, granted, the weather wasn't great, and I couldn't even get into 6th gear. Well, at 65 miles an hour, I was still in 5th gear. I couldn't even get into 6th gear. One thing the bike really likes to do is, one of the reasons I have it, is when you come into a turn like this and you just push down, the bike just falls right into the turn. You know, the Monster, you kind of had to counter steer it a little bit. This bike doesn't. It just falls into the turn. You know, and the windscreen protection that you get, it's not a lot, and that's definitely a sporty screen there, but like I said, it does pull up a little bit. They make bigger screens for it. They make some really cool aftermarket exhausts for it. They make a full Akrapovic exhaust that shoots out the rear, but that's a full system with pipes and everything. But Akrapovic still makes a slip-on for the bike that's really cool. So I'm just gonna go, I gotta go get gas, and I'm gonna probably just put it through the paces of my normal ride. And we shall see. Hopefully it was a good decision. It put me in debt. It wasn't a lot more a month, and there was no money down. So it was just trade the monster in and get this, and you know, monthly payment to the monthly payments. You know, the plan is to maybe by the time I'm a little older, you know, maybe get a multi. Listen, the multi 950 probably would have been a more practical bike for me. It was probably about the same exact price as this. I sat on it and I did not test ride it. I didn't want to test ride it. I was afraid I'd like it too much. It was so comfortable. But I don't know if I like that big sit-up position yet. And I say the word yet. You know, I'm a sport bike guy.